I'm Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. And this is another paid request, this time from Yule from Great Britain. Hope you enjoy this. I think he wanted me to do a review afterward too. So maybe I'll do that separate videos, but he had paid for request of a commentary to Jaws for the Revenge. Now the funny thing about this before I start, this might have been one of the first reviews I ever did on my older channels. For some reason I remember this being one of the first. Again, that was a previous channel I had. And I think it was one of those I picked this because I knew it was such an awful film. When I reviewed that, God, it must have been over 10 years now on my early channel. Well over 10 years. I would say Jaws 4 The Revenge is one of the worst films of all time. It's still bad, but in those 10 years, I have seen so many worse movies. I don't know if I would even put this in my top 100 worst films. It's still bad. It's still shitty. But that goes to show you, I have seen so many worse offenders. Feeders 2, The Amazing Bulk, Pocket Ninjas, The Maze, Tina Mavar, Veronica, Neil Breen films. The director Neil Breen has made the nostalgia critics movies like Uncanny Valley, even high-profile sequels like The Last Jedi and The Predator from 2018 and Alien 3, and those piss me off more than this. This is just bad. It does have some nice Bahama locations. You can laugh at it. And I liked Lance Guest, although The Last Starfighter ended up in this shit. The score, I remember the score being pretty good. There's stuff to laugh at and be entertained, but it's pretty fucking bad. So, again, it's just weird. Over 10 years ago, this would be on my list of worst films ever. It's an awful film, but I've seen so many bad films in the past 10 years. Holy shit. So, let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, pressing. At least it's an hour and 30 minutes. That's with the end credits, so that's another positive. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Oh my god, man. Jaws. Was this the first time during the marketing it said this time it's personal? Was this the first one to do this tagline? Was this the first movie? Because you watch the trailer, and the trailer's narrated by Percy Rodriguez. Wonderful voice who voiced a lot of trailers back in the day, including the trailer to the first movie. This time it's personal. I can't do Percy Rodriguez. May you rest in peace. But man, where to go with this? I mean, I do think the music is not too bad by Michael Small. I would say that's the best part of this movie. I even don't mind his version of the theme. Like, his version of the theme seemed like it has a bit of intensity, even more so. But, like, his version of the theme has a bit of a... almost it's going to be a greater threat. It's not, but... God, where do I start with this movie, man? Where do I start? It's directed by Joseph Sargent. This is a guy that directed films like Colossus, The Forbin Project, the original Taking a Pelham 1, 2, 3, And the reason this got made, this film, was because the CEO, Sidney Sheinberg, he was a CEO of, I think, MCA, who worked with Universal. They said, well, we're having some financial difficulties, and while Jaws 3 was not that critically loved, it still made a profit. So this will at least make a profit some way, some shape, or some form. And I don't think it was a flop. It might have made a little bit amount of money, but I don't remember it being a flop. I could be wrong, but... Or maybe it broke you, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised with home video had made it some profit, just on name recognition, and just for how infamous it is on being so bad, so people check it out of curiosity. Oh, and you know who was married to Sidney Sheinberg, the CEO? Lorraine Gary. Now, granted, she was the wife in the first Jaws and the second Jaws, but lo and behold, the CEO wanted this film to get made. His wife is now the star. Granted, Roy Scheider would never come back. He didn't want to come back for Jaws 2. You think he's going to come back for Jaws 4? I think they also wanted Richard Dreyfuss, because I think they wanted one of them to be the guy who got killed at the beginning. In fact, if Roy Scheider had said yes, it would have been him being eaten at the beginning of the film. I think if that happened, I would call this one of the worst. Granted, it's still stupid that, oh, he died, I guess, of a heart attack. But she's like, he died because he was afraid of the water. Lorraine Gary, at the end of the first film, he's swimming. He even says, I used to hate the water. And Richard Dreyfuss goes, I wonder why. You know, I have no idea why. But, like, God, what to talk about with this film. It doesn't seem like it has any reference to Jaws 3, because those characters, the one Lance Guest plays, that character worked at SeaWorld, and then would go with Bess Armstrong to work with her on her job. That's obviously not the case. I know people say Jaws 3 is as bad as this movie. No, I like Jaws 3. I like Jaws 3. That's another movie that has a great score, but I like Dennis Quaid. I like the SeaWorld environment. That was kind of a cool, fun environment. The 3D effects are not good. No, I'll give you that, but again, the whole... Yeah, I like Bess Armstrong. I like some of those characters, and the SeaWorld motif is kind of fun. This, there's Roy Scheider, his picture at least. For what I understand, if you read the novel of this film, apparently some voodoo guy had a bug up his ass about the Brody family, and so he put a curse on them, and the curse was in the form of a shark, and that's why the shark would follow them all the way to the Bahamas. That's why the shark would specifically target specific members of the Brody family. For example, later on, when the little girl's on that little boat thing, it seemed like the shark was going straight for her. When you watch this film, think of the fact that that's the original... that's pretty much the idea they're going. That it's fucking voodoo, mystical magic. Which nowadays, I mean, look at how many sharks there are, where there's avalanche sharks, voodoo shark, zombie shark, ghost shark, house shark, shark exorcist. I mean, there's all of that shit. You know what? In retrospect, they should have just gone for broke. I mean, this is an 80s film. Say, you know what? We're going to go to the ridiculous and just go full force And with your 80s effects and technology, just go full force in the ridiculous. It's ridiculous as is. Just go to the 10th power. And then maybe it would have been like a cult classic fun thing. Let the shark fucking spit acid. Let it jump and take entire helicopters down. Even more so than it did in Jaws 2. Let it just get a high body count that would make Jason Voorhees blush. Just go all the way then. At least maybe that would be something. But the fact that this film thinks it's taking itself seriously and it still is so fucking ridiculous, that's it. It doesn't go crazy enough that it has a cult following, but it's so ridiculous that it's a bad movie. It doesn't go crazy enough. That's for me. If he did some of the shit I said, then yeah, but it just... You can watch clips and laugh, but then there's a lot of boring parts waiting for that. Like, this beginning is pretty serious. This beginning, you have this person who is one of Brody's sons. He's the... I think he's supposed to be a younger kid. Remember in the first Jaws where the little kid is watching his dad and they're both mimicking what they're doing at the table? I think that's who this is supposed to be grown up. And then Lance Guest, I believe, is the kid that almost got killed before it leads to the third act of Jaws. And I mean, there's just so many issues with... I mean, seems like it could be an intense scene. I mean, this is a guy that gets his fucking arm bitten off. I mean, the whole idea of this is pretty intense and could be scary. Again, you have this guy who seems like he means well. He gets his entire fucking arm bitten off. He's screaming for help and no one can hear him. And you don't really see a lot, but the way it's edited with the teeth and the blood and the sound effects, it gives the impression of a vicious attack. And look how wrecked that boat is. Just... Of course, you think of the first Jaws film where the woman's screaming for help and she gets pulled down, and you know that happens to this guy here, one of Brody's sons. I guess that's where the... But okay, now that you don't have the voodoo aspect, I guess the revenge is the shark wants revenge. The way the movie we have now, what are you supposed to think? Was he related to the sharks who got killed and he wants revenge on... You killed 2 of my buddies back in the day. Your ass will pay. Like, what the hell is the fucking... Is it the fucking reincarnation of those spirits into this shark? And he's now pissed? It's like, what are you supposed to think? What conclusion are you supposed to bring into this story? Just what? Someone please tell me. Don't give me the voodoo stuff. The voodoo's not in the movie. Yes, it's in the book. Blah, blah, blah. But it's not in the movie. The movie that we have here, what is the shark? Just what is it? Again, the shark got bored one day and a psychic, Terry style, and heard the whispers of the fucking... the wind. These motherfuckers killed your brethren. I mean, for all I know, maybe those other sharks were his fucking tag team partners in bed, in the seabed, with semen in his face and grill and mouth, and he's pissed off because he doesn't have any more wanking material, so he wants revenge on the Brody family. I don't fucking know. What am I supposed to know? I just don't know. So like, what is the gist of the story? What's the motivation? How are you related to the other sharks? Are you somehow the son that got left behind, or you pissed? I don't know. The movie doesn't know. Again, I'm guessing they didn't film that voodoo stuff. Even though it's in the novel, I think the novelization of it. So maybe the novelist is like, I can't figure this shit out. Let me make this. I don't fucking know, man. I really don't. And Lauren Gary, I'm sorry, she does not work as the lead. I'm sorry, she does not. She works as a supporting actress. The only reason she got this lead, yes, she was in the previous films, but the fact they pulled her into the lead role, because the CEO, she's married to the CEO, working with Universal. Now, on paper, it sounds understandable. You know, the mother taking control of the situation. But Lorraine Gary works in supporting role. I don't think she works in a lead role. She's not the worst actress, to be fair. She isn't the worst actress. It's just compared to Roy Scheider or Richard Dreyfuss or Robert Shaw, or yes, even Dennis Quaid in the third film, she's just... I don't think she's as strong. But to take a few steps from that, she's not the worst ever. I don't want to make her seem like she's given such an awful performance like I would see in a dozen of these direct-to-video shark films. See that line of dialogue? You can't believe in that voodoo? The fear that killed him? Why would the fear kill Roy Scheider? This is a guy that, again, at the end of the first film said, I used to hate the water. And then in the second film, he took on a shark that had the face of Freddy Krueger and electrocuted his ass. But he's going to be afraid of the water? You know what? I would have just had it where they got divorced. They got divorced and he's somewhere else. Not kill him off screen. Because the troubles, what happened in Jaws 1 and 2, he couldn't handle it, they divorced, and he moved away. Now Lance Guest, I liked Lance Guest. He was in Halloween 2 from 1981. And technically he was a survivor if you look at the alternate ending of Halloween 2, where he did survive. Nowadays it's just like, did he die? Did he not die? He slipped on the or his head fell on the steering wheel. But I didn't. Depending on which ending you see, he didn't die. The Last Starfighter is where I remember him the most. And here's that scene from the first film. Makes me want to rewatch the first film instead. But I can understand the idea. At least that flashback made sense because she was there to witness it. We saw her looking at this. Her husband and son are dead, so she remembers a moment between the two of them. That's the flashback that makes sense. So I'm not going to harp on that one too much. The ones later on where she has flashbacks to scenes she was not fucking in. I have flashbacks of Roy Scheider killing the shark when I wasn't fucking there. Maybe she has flashbacks to seeing the film DVD or on VHS. Maybe that's why. But yeah, Lance Guest I liked. You know, the last Starfighter came out. Sadly, it did nothing business-wise. He didn't get much parts. And in all fairness, Lance Guest is doing the best he can. In all fairness. With the script he's working with the limited character he's working with, Lance Guest is doing the best he can. I don't have much problems with Lance Guest. But again, I'm a Last Starfire fan, so maybe I'm an apologist for Lance Guest, but I thought he does fine. And again, compared to a lot of films I've seen, I mentioned some of them. Pocket Ninjas, Amazing Bulk, Newty, Red Zone Cuba, the list fucking goes on. The Leprechaun movies. I'd rather watch these Leprechaun movies. Like, this movie isn't bad from Lauren Gary. I was giving her some crap. But it's actually not a bad moment. Where she's faking a smile with her grandkid. She has to turn away as the tears come out. She can't hold it back in, but she doesn't want the family to see it, to steer her grandchild. So, like, that's not a bad moment. It really isn't. Again, this little stuff I'm saying, that's why, as bad as the sequel is, I'll put it above Leprechaun films and, like I said, Red Zone Cuba and Newty and so many other fucking films I've seen lately in the past 10 years. And Michael Caine. Now, Michael Caine, I've always enjoyed as an actor. And Michael Caine, I know he mentions that around this time he got an Oscar for another movie, but he could not pick it up because he was busy doing this film. I think this film had been in behind schedule. So again, he was in the Bahamas filming this movie, but he could not accept the Oscar. But he mentions, you know what, in retrospect, I got an Oscar, I got to spend time with the Bahamas, I never saw this film, I heard it was bad, but I have seen the house that it bought me. So he must have got paid a good chunk if he was able to buy a house. So, hey, he got a paycheck, bought a house, he was fine with it. So is this a Christmas movie? Never realized that. Because you seen Merry Christmas, people were singing, there were carolers earlier. There's Christmas decorations. So I didn't realize this is a Christmas movie. I mean, God forbid it's fucking Bahamas. How could I notice, but yeah. Huh. God, this kid being a fucking brat. Yeah, the kids are. Nee, nee, nee. Smack her in the face and give her a pile driver. Fucking crybaby. Throw her ass in the fucking water, see if she can swim. I think really the big problem with the film for me is it's a pretty boring movie with just instances of utter stupidity. It's not the most boring film in the world. Again, There's a found footage film called Unaware. You want to be bored? Watch a film like Unaware, or Bigfoot County, or Hip Hop Locos. Again, I'm naming films way worse than this. Like, again, if you think this is one of the worst films ever, 10 years ago, I'd be like, yeah, I get it. Nowadays, I'm like, watch Hip Hop Locos. Watch, again, Unaware. Watch Bigfoot County. Watch The Zombie Diaries. Watch, you know, shitload. God, that Bahama water, just how fucking clear it is. One day I would like to go there. This is like a nightmare scene. I think people would know this is a nightmare scene. Just if it wasn't and they killed it off that quickly, that'd be a big surprise. Like, that would be more surprising than the beginning. That'd be even more surprising. I mean, maybe I get the intent what the director was going for, where you have a person whose family's been either consumed by the shark since the first movie, or now with the death of her son. This whole obsession thing, seeing it everywhere she looks, everywhere she can think of. Oh my god, Mario Van Peebles, man. With a very fake Jamaican accent. Why does he even need an accent? You don't, he didn't need to have a fucking accent. It's not like Lance Guest has an accent. If he can't do an accent, just don't have him do an accent. Oh yeah, man. We're going to pass out the cigars, man. We got to get ready for the bobsled team. I wonder if anyone ever asked Mario Van Peebles about this movie. Oh yeah, I almost forget. The Jaws video game that got made was based on this movie because it was the game came out around 87 or so, just like the movie. So I was like, hey, in preparation for the movie, there's this Nintendo thing out. Make a Nintendo video game. So I was like, well, how do you make a Nintendo game? Well, see, now Marvin Peel's lost the accent. What, he's like, I'm sorry about your brother, man. He had no accent there. Just don't have the accent. You know what? If Marvin Peebles, if you took away his accent, just have him talk normal. You get rid of Lorraine Gary. And the story is about these two guys in the Bahamas doing their whole expedition thing. And then the shark is coming in. And they have to figure out what's going on and why the fuck the shark is here. And it centers on these two guys. Maybe it could work. Maybe. Maybe. Lance Guest got a nice set of hair and a beard too. Definitely that My Two Dads, late 80s look. Beard is almost like mine. Except I don't have the hair on my head. Not anymore. Because I just shave it now. I just shave the stuff. Oh, I was talking about the Nintendo game. I remember playing the Nintendo game and having fun for what it was. It's not one of the worst Nintendo games. It's not one of the worst movie-based games. For Nintendo, sadly, it's one of the better movie-based games on Nintendo. I mean, hell, a lot better than fucking Roger Rabbit or X-Men. I know that's not based on a movie, but X-Men may be the worst Nintendo game out there. So I just like based on something. Jaws, sadly, is one of the better ones. It's playable. It's kind of, I can enjoy it like an arcade level, like one of those old school arcades where you rack up points. Pretty much you collect conch shells and you go around and you shoot stuff. You power up your boat more and more and more, and power up your weapons until you can finally fight the shark. And then get into that end sequence where you gotta impale the shark, like the end of this movie. Or I guess the original ending, because there's no explosion. That's the thing when like they reshoot the ending and they have the shark explode for no fucking reason, and then you have the shark roaring. "Ah," like sharks don't roar and they don't go on their tippy toes in the water. As a guy who knows jack shit about shark, even I know about that. And like, it seems like the most ridiculous shit is saved for that finale, if you think about it. That's why when people talk about this film, they always think of the finale, because that's where all the ridiculous shit. You know, the people come out of the water and then their clothes are absolutely dry. The flashbacks, even though she wasn't fucking there. The shark on his tippy toes. The shark roaring like a lion. The shark exploding, depending which fucking ending you watch. These all... That's the most ridiculous shit. The stuff up until the end is very... blasé and boring. I mean, again, Michael Caine's not bad. He's not given much to do, but Michael Caine... I like him in this film called The Swarm, which a lot of people hate. A lot of people hate The Swarm. But I enjoy it. I think it's a fun to see a big budget disaster movie, but it's killer bees. I'm like, that's the kind of killer bee movie I want. If I want a killer bee movie, I want it big. I want the killer bees to really fuck shit up. I love The Swarm. Like, I don't... Fine, go watch the 50 other Sci-Fi Channel films where it's cheap and barely anything happens. I like The Swarm. I'll stand by that. You're tired of this paradise shit? This is such a beautiful location. Look how fucking beautiful everything is. The wind, the sand, the complete, utter, beautiful ocean. The way the ocean looks with the color, the like teal, whatever you want to call it. You're tired of that? Fuck you, man. Fuck you and your fake ass accent. I'm getting tired of this paradise shit, man. Go to your fucking bobsled team and leave, and I'll take your fucking place. Please, thank you. I think the original novel, like the original story, Michael Caine's character, I think was a drug smuggler too, with his plane. I think like early on in dialogue, I heard like, oh, I hear you're gonna have to. Something about Michael Caine's character has lost a lot of money, and it's going to take him a lot of time to recover from that. Again, from the original idea, it seems that he was a drug smuggler thing. I don't really see much of that in the movie, though. I mean, Michael Caine, he's not bad in the film. I don't think he's bad in the film. I didn't know much his character. He flies a plane. He says a couple things to Lorraine Gary. That's pretty much it. Let me look at this. I think it said like Michael Brown was the editor. If that's the case, I'm like, Mike, why'd you work on this movie? OCP. Why'd you edit this piece of shit? See, I'm finding stuff hard to talk about because it's fucking boring. I mean, it's Carnival. I think these are the conch shells, which again is what you collect in Jaws, the video game for Nintendo. And then there's another Jaws game, not based on this, but there was a game called Jaws Unleashed for PS2, which you actually played the shark. I know a lot of people complain about the look of the sharks in these movies. I don't know, maybe I'm just a sucker for... I'm just a sucker for practical effects of this nature, which nowadays they just overuse CGI. I don't know why she's having a psychic vision of it though. I don't know where the fuck that comes from. Like, why did she have a psychic vision? I have no idea. Doesn't explain it. It never explains it. I don't get one fucking bit. Michael Caine's, ah, this crazy ass lady. And Lance Guess is like in a stupor. And the thing of it is just... The thing with a shark is just go on land and don't come back out. Then everything will be fucking fine and dandy. There's plenty of places you can go with no fucking shark around. Sorry I'm not saying that. I don't know what the fuck the... It's piss and rain. Just what we need for our mood. And yeah, I never realized it was Christmas season. There's more Christmas decorations, the lights. Merry fucking Christmas. Here's a VHS of Jaws the Revenge. Yeah, what's your fucking problem? Let her have her fun with Michael Caine. Dude, your wife just threw you her panties. Yeah, you better get in bed, otherwise you'll be a fucking cuck. But again, with this film, it's not a strong story, not in the slightest. Lorraine Deary, she just cannot carry the film. I'm sorry. The film's gonna be on her shoulders, and she's not the quarterback to do it to get to the finish line. Again, to be fair, she's all right at best, but she's just not the strong carry through for a film of this nature. Lance Guest is doing what he can with the budget. Marv Van Peebles, he needs to get rid of the stupid fucking accent. Now we're at fucking Casino Royale or some shit. Oh, this is him gonna lose more money at betting? Michael Caine? Probably in the original story, I would not be surprised if this is why he does the drug smuggling, because he keeps losing money at craps here. Yep, he keeps losing money at this. Again, I'm guessing this is why he would smuggle drugs. Does it? Again, I don't know if this is stuff that was filmed or was just in the original script, the story, and this is a novelization. And we're 40 minutes in, so that we got like 50 minutes left. So, okay, let's really think about this. Let's really take a step back. Why does this film not work? Technically, you can make the easy case you did not need a Jaws sequel. But I like Jaws 2 and 3. So what else? Again, it's just I think the pacing of the film is a bit slow, so it makes the film quite boring. Now, you could say the same for the other Jaws films, but especially the first Jaws has this good, solid actors, build up of characterizations, like the sheriff who's trying to deal with the small town and only was dealing with these small, little teeny tiny problems, and now has to deal with the townspeople and all this stuff when bigger problems arise. No one's helping them, no allies until Richard Dreyfuss comes aboard. This was not a boating accident. Finally gets someone on his side. You need to deal with this problem or he'll swim up and bite you on the ass. And then you enter Robert Shaw, and then Robert Shaw, like that whole finale is what, 40 minutes long? I mean, when they first go out to sea, it's like an entirely another movie, in a good way though. And just the way the three work with each other, the three different personas, three different personalities, but they're all having to coexist with each other. And I think Joseph Sargent, this was just out of his wheelhouse. When you look up Joseph Sargent's directing duties, he never did a film of this nature. He never did a horror film or a creature feature film or whatever the case. This was so out of his wheelhouse that it just... And for what I understand, this was rushed into production. Like, we really, truly want a sequel out because we've been having films that were bombing. Again, Jaws 3, even though people didn't love it, it was still a hit. Get a sequel out. And my wife used to be the star. So you get to this, and it's like, okay, what is the actual story of it? Somehow a shark is followed them from the fucking Amity to the Bahamas. Your mind is wandering through the driftwood of how the hell is that possible? How and why is it targeting each of just the Brodies? What's going on? None of that's put into the plot of the movie we have. Disregard original story. Disregard novelizations. None of that is in the movie. So I was listening to the dialogue. So again, so the whole plan here is just, okay, these guys go to capture a great white for their doctorate. I'm going to look and see what's on the trivia for this. Why even have the Jamaican accent in the first place? Just why? I guess they thought that was a good accent and no one wanted to tell them otherwise. What's wrong is he giving me shit about the garbage. That's what's wrong. Who gives a shit about the garbage? Always talk about the garbage. This fucking movie's garbage. Put it in the fucking garbage sack. You're arguing about garbage. I don't know. Why are you arguing about the fucking garbage? Who gives a shit about the garbage? I'm arguing because it's hot as hell. What, she don't burn her husband? Go weld her fucking husband's mouth shut? I've always wanted to make love to an angry welder. This is the dialogue we have. So looking at the trivia, it says this is one of Michael Caine's notorious paycheck movies, along with The Swarm, Ashanti, Beyond the Poseidon Adventure, The Island, The Hand, and Blame It on Rio. But see, I like The Island, and I like The Swarm. Lauren Gary had retired from acting since the 1979 film 1941. She came out of retirement to do this film, and then it was her final film since then. Okay. Well, if you're wondering what Michael Caine won the Oscar for during this time, it was for the film Hannah and Her Sisters. Yet he could not accept the Oscar because he was filming this movie. Yeah, the shark doesn't look great in those shots. Again, it just... Joseph Sargent doesn't really... just doesn't... I don't know. There's nothing really exciting or thrilling or suspenseful about this. Not at all. Maybe it's the way some of the extras are reacting. They're not being that scared. Oh my god, they're kind of just sitting there staring at it. Apparently, the study where Michael Caine smuggling drugs to the island was shot, then deleted post-production. Huh, so it was shot. Yeah, that's right. This little girl here, I knew she seemed familiar. Judith Barcy. I believe she would voice the character Ducky in The Land Before Time. I think she plays the daughter of Lance Guest in this, the little girl. That's right, she did die very early on through horrible circumstances. Fucking sucks. The shark's infamous roar during the climax comes from a Tom and Jerry cartoon called The Milky Wave. Reportedly, this is actually done because the sound editor refused to make an original sound effect, thinking that the idea of a shark roaring was ridiculous. Alright, here we go. Here's a bit here about the original, the novelization. Is what it says. It included many scenes and subplots that ultimately got removed. Some of the excised material includes the discovery of Sean Brody by Amity PD, the little girl being hypnotized and almost wandering into the water at night where the shark awaits. The fuck? The death of a windsurfer. A humorous scene involving a drunken retired newscaster and the shark. What? A drive-by shooting where the Brodies are nearly injured. And a foot pursuit. What? Mike's secrecy of the shark takes a strain on his marriage. He also retains a monitoring device in the bedroom. When Carla has her unveiling, Mike goes to a bar and he and Carla argue. She then mentions that she shut off the monitoring device because she believed Mike needed sleep. It's only then they realize Thea may be in danger on the banana boat. Deleted characters include a gangster who befriends Ellen Brody, who is ultimately killed by the shark. Michael Caine's law enforcement partner, and Papa Jock, a voodoo doctor. In the novel, Papa Jock is a local man to whom the islanders turn for advice and guidance. Mike Brody does not like him, as he believes he exploits the islanders, including his assistants. After an altercation with Mike, Lance Guest's character, Papa Jock summons the shark to do his bidding. He also has Thea's pail stolen so he can curse it. This is what leads to Thea walking outside towards the water in a zombie-like trance. Several segments also take place from the shark's point of view, as revealed that the shark is actually a pawn and can't understand the force driving it where it needs to go. So there's a voodoo doctor among this area. Lance Guest says, "You're exploiting the islanders, you're full of shit." He's like, "Oh, okay." But what the fuck does that have to do with the beginning of the film? Or is it one of those where that happens, he's like, "I curse your family," and then the shark kills Sean Brody and then goes to fucking the Bahamas? I don't know. It's a stupid fucking idea no matter what. Sorry, I'm looking. Joseph Sargent thought maybe he would do 3D with this movie, but the guy could not guarantee the cameras would work reliably in the climate of the Bahamas, and the idea was scrapped. The writers had not seen Jaws 2 or Jaws 3, which is why there's inconsistency in the continuity. Fuck, man. If you don't do it 4, maybe you want to see the other films? Okay, now we have another... This is sort of a repeat of the first movie, where the kid is mimicking their dad. Which just makes me go, why don't I just watch the first movie if that's the case? It's like, it's cute, but I saw this in the first movie. It's like, you remember this? Remember berries? Remember this? Remember that? Remember when this happened in the first movie? I do remember this in the first movie. I just don't watch the first fucking movie. Again, the kid mimicking all that the dad's doing. I forgot about this. I remember the flashback early on to the, but yeah. What's that? She don't have a great-granddaughter? Remember this scene? For Jaws 7? Oh, but this little girl, it's sad that she died so young. I think she was probably 10 years old when she died. Sad. She did a good job voicing Dutty in Land Before Time, and for a little girl, I mean, she does fine here for what she has to do. This film made $51.9 million off a $23 million budget. Stand-up comedians dedicate their entire acts to spoofing this movie because of the much ridiculed plot. Joseph Sargent says everyone was aware of how ridiculous the concept was, but thought there was a fair chance of making it work for the screen. Director says the film had gone through so many story pitches that once they settled on the preposterous idea, they were just so burned out creatively that being given the go-ahead from Universal made everyone happy and excited. Or maybe just don't do the film. But yeah, when Jaws came out and was such a huge success, you had so many films rip it off. I mean, from Orca, Piranha, Tentacles, Killer Fish, Barracuda, The Last Shark, Up from the Depths, Devilfish, The Jaws of Death, Great White in 1980, which the Universal sued and was successful. That's why the film doesn't have a release in the U.S. on home video. And even other films like Grizzly. I mean, Grizzly is pretty much Jaws, but with a bear. You had other films. I think when a film becomes that much of a huge success, people don't find a way to rip it off or try to capture that momentum. And some of them are good. I mean, I like Orca. I like Grizzly. Some of them sucked, like Killer Fish or Blood Beach from 1980. But yeah, these effects are not great. But I'll take this over the CGI shit and these countless sci-fi channel with silent films. I really would. At least something real and tangible. And that to me still has more merit than just a shitty looking CGI. Sharktopus versus Megalopolis versus Tyrannosaurus, whatever the fuck they're called now. Surprised it's not Shark versus Anaconda. Surprised there's not that. Yeah, you have this chase sequence. I mean, the underwater photography isn't that bad. I wouldn't say that. I can't think of anything that awful about the photography of this. Maybe that's just me being silly, but... I don't know how the fuck the shark fit in there, but okay, with his fat ass. Fuck did the shark fit in there? Yeah, they died the shark could fucking fit. That'd be funny if the shark gets completely stuck and dies of starvation. Give me a kiss. Come on, but a Beast Aftershave, Part 5. I need to use you as a toothpick. Get your ass in gear, man. Are they ready for the party hardy? I'm the hurly-gurly man. Hey, Kool-Aid! Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of a better movie. Leviathan. I'd rather be watching than this. I can't really say this is that exciting of a film. Let's see. Trying to see if there's any info. Okay, let's have some stuff here. The original script features a cameo by Richard Dreyfuss's character, Matt Hooper. He would call the Brodies and greeted on the phone by Thea, who calls him Uncle Matt. Hooper established as being close to Michael and Carla. He gave them his condolences about Sean's death. Hooper and Michael, Lance guessed, discussed their careers. The late Martin Brody, and Hooper's once spending Christmas with the family, with Martin dressed as Santa Claus. The scene ends when Michael heads off to summon Ellen to the phone to talk to Hooper. Yeah, I'm sure Richard, well, I don't know, it doesn't seem like that bad for a cameo. It's like, yeah, give me a decent paycheck. I had to do a scene by a phone, take like 10 minutes. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just reading on here. Yeah, NES video game chart, video game jobs they actually talk about here. The deleted scenes this movie contained are featured in an old airing from the TV broadcasting on AMC. A narrator before the opening credits discusses circumstance and fate. An extended taxi ride where Michael shows his mother Ellen the Neptune's Folly. A scene where Michael and Jake seen on Michael's front porch. A scene where Ellen and Michael Caine walk around cruise ships, while Michael Caine tells Ellen a story about bananas. The original ending, the sharp being impaled, no explosion. Whatever. The shark's head exploding is explained when Jake throws an explosive that's powered by electrical impulses to the shark before he is grabbed by the shark and taken under the water, and later when the shark is impaled by the broken... in the exact spot the bomb is... Oh my god, really? So apparently Marvin Peebles throws an explosive that's powered by electrical impulses into the shark before he's grabbed by the shark and taken underwater. And then so when the shark is impaled, it impales right in the exact same spot of the bomb, ignites the bomb, it causes the shark to explode. The scene of the sinking shark corpse without its head is the same shot from the end of the first movie. Yeah, I know that. Oh my god. Fucking hell, man. No one notices. Like, no one notices except her. As going for the girl in the banana boat. Mine to the banana boat. Yeah, I don't mind the score. I think the score is alright. Up, you picked the wrong one. I mean, kudos to the stunt woman. I mean, hey, you're putting your life in your hands when you have this big mechanism on you. And you have this big mechanism that's supposed to grab your leg, bring you and drag you into the water. That's not an easy thing to do. So, to the stunt woman, okay, I'm going to put myself and my leg into this big mechanism. Hopefully something doesn't fuck up and it crushes too hard and bites my leg off or give big indentations to my body. That's the thing, if you don't take this ridiculous idea, really go for it. Have it be like a guy who's a cop and, you know, he puts on the glasses. Dun, 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 dun. Son of a bitch must pay. You know, just like Big Trouble Little China. Big Trouble Little China is, you just think is a silly idea, but it went with it. It has such a fun, mystical, entertaining vibe to it. But this is a film that, yes, sometimes it's better when you take a funny idea seriously instead of winking every 5 minutes. Like a shitty parody. But, you know, there can also be a balance between the two. Which this didn't have. He just ignoring the shit out of his wife. Don't be surprised you get divorced when you come back, man. Your ass gonna be divorced to high and hell water of heaven. Your ass is divorced, buddy. What are you gonna do? Take the little teeny tiny boat to try to get to the fucking her boat? Surprised the guy didn't try to drive in the water. Yeah, he did take the little boat. There we go. And so that's another thing, like you look at this finale, it's such a low-key, lame dutt fuck of an ending. Think of the ending of each of the films. that's the notion that he did drugs. I deliver laundry. Laundry. In other words, he smuggles drugs. But like, you look at the ending of the first film, this big grand finale where they're taking him on water, then Richard Dreyfuss goes in, you think he's dead, and then Robert Shaw's attacked and eaten, and then Roy Scheider, he's by himself, the boat's slowly sinking, what's he going to do next? Smile, you son of a... You look at Jaws 2, the fucking shark takes the entire helicopter down. His face is scarred up like a 80s slasher villain. 80s, like a Freddy Krueger. And you fry his ass. Definitely one of the more unique ways of killing a shark. Even the third film, when SeaWorld is going all up shit creek, and you have a guy stuck in the mouth, in the throat with a grenade, you have to try to get the grenade in and out. That I got more out of than this. This is just roaring sharks and pulses. Boop, 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 boop. Again, it's hard to say, oh, well, this is definitely... Like I say, it's a bad film, don't get me wrong, but... Man, considering all the films I've seen since then, man... It... Watch The Amazing Bulk, Feeders, Feeders 2, Red Zone Cuba, The Star Crystal, not Dark, but The Star Crystal... So many other fucking films, man. Like Veronica with a K. Like, holy shit, there's a lot worse movies. And I'm not defending this film, it's just... I mean, I could mention how previously that shark, like, was really on his tippy toes, and I don't know how the fuck a shark does that. Like, so fucking high, like... Sorry, I kicked the thing. I'm like, is this really the smartest idea? Is this really the smartest idea to land it in the fucking ocean where this gigantic shark is in? It's not really the smartest decision. Just saying. It killed Michael Caine. Oh, this bloody shark. Ah. Even she's pissed about it. Yeah, he's pretty his shirt's pretty fucking dry. Considering. It's a little wrinkled, but it's pretty fucking dry. Is that this buddy bullshit? I'm not going to get wet for this bullshit. That heartbeat thing maybe it could have been utilized for some potentially suspenseful scenes where you hear it, but you don't exactly know where it's at. So like you hear it, but it's like, where is he? Is he to the left? Is he to the right? But it never, they never capitalize on that. They never do. Yeah, the things he's reading is like it's gonna shock him, not make it explode, unless there's something else I'm missing. Just one of those things, man, with this book. Just one of those things, you know, what the fuck? What the fuck? It's just that what the fuck quotient. So, sorry, I'm dozing off as we speak. I mean, for a film that had such a, at the time, a big budget, it just, first film looked bigger budget than this. Second film had the shark take down an entire fucking helicopter. Okay, yeah, remember this is a commentary, Matt. You're supposed to be talking. Yeah, I know. Look how far it's going from the water. It's literally standing on its tippy toes. Oh, shit. I think this is where you get the... Jake! Yeah, he's dead. I know, depending which endings, tell me how he survives, but no, he's dead. If you get bit like that, you're fucking dead. You're dead as fuck. You're dead as a doornail. You're dead as shit. They ain't coming back. Not from that. And she's having a flashback to a scene she never witnessed. Hey, I remember when my son died. She didn't fucking see it, though. I just is meant to be like, hey... Again, how is she remembering a scene she wasn't fucking in? She wasn't in the fucking scene in the first movie at the end. She wasn't there. Why is she remembering it? When you do stuff like that, when you edit stuff like that, it makes it seem as if she is thinking that. I'm sure the filmmaker is like, hey, do you remember the first movie? How did the first movie end? Well, we want to make some kind of symbiosis with this movie. Well, I gotta listen to the roaring. Wait. Coming after he taps his a few. I gotta listen to the roaring of this. Oh, this is the explosion ending. And that. So you stab something. There was no explosion. It was the shot. That was all he put into the thing was the shock. The chakram. There was no explosion thing that was put into there. And somehow Marvan Peebles is alive. I mean, I like Marvan Peebles the actor, so I guess I'm like, okay, fine, he's alive. Makes no fucking sense. And this is definitely a reshoot. That's why this background is totally painted with the clouds. Totally painted. Yeah, that is a, what do you call it? A painted background, and they're in a. Think of it as a gigantic pool, really. I just people like, man, I don't want that guy to die. Sorry, I'm just. This ending is dumbfounding. It's dumbfounding. Fucking dumbfounding. Wow. Oh my god, man. So really at the end of the day, you have a film where, for the most part, honestly it's a pretty boring affair. For the most part, it's a very tedious, slow, uninteresting affair. But it just has an ending that's very ridiculous for multiple reasons, and that's the thing people remember the most. The rest of it is just a bore and a chore to sit through. I mean, 2 or 3 instances of the shark. Like really, the first time they see it, The time when he goes the little underwater chase, and the time it attacks his daughter in the banana boat. That's really it. Otherwise, there's a lot of stuff that goes nowhere, like this big, seemingly argument between Lance Guest and his wife that goes nowhere. This romance between Lauren Derry and Michael Caine. Yeah, it's just a boring film with a stupid, ridiculous plot. That's really the best way to put it. A boring film and a ridiculous plot. But I'll do a review because Yule, part of the request was to do a commentary and a review for it, so stay tuned for that. And I will see you guys in a bit. Later. Fucking roaring sharks, man. Christ.